The warning. The meeting room fell silent as Admiral Chen stared at the holographic images floating above the table. Beside him, the alien refugee named Ketal trembled, its blue scales reflecting the dim light. 3 days had passed since the alien fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system, but this was the first time they shared the full truth about what was chasing them. "Show me again," Admiral Chen said, his voice steady despite the fear growing in his chest. "Show me what these void hunters did to your homeworld." Ketal touched a device on its wrist. The hologram changed, showing a beautiful green planet that looked much like Earth. Then the darkness came. Massive black ships, each one bigger than Earth's largest city, emerged from the shadows of space. They moved like hungry predators, surrounding the planet. "We thought we were ready," Ketal said in its translated voice. "Our shields were the strongest in the galaxy. Our weapons could destroy moons. But the Void Hunters..." It paused, struggling with the memory. "They turned our own atmosphere into a weapon. They have technology that can control gravity itself." Admiral Chen watched as the hologram showed the planet's death. The Void Hunters didn't just destroy Ketal's world. They harvested it. They stripped away the atmosphere, pulled the oceans into space, and cracked the planet's crust like an egg. Billions died in hours. They'd done this to 17 worlds in the last cycle. Ketal continued. "No one can stop them. No one can even slow them down. That's why we came here, to warn you. Your world is next." But something wasn't right. Admiral Chen had spent 40 years in Earth's Space Force, and he knew when someone wasn't telling the whole truth. "Why here?" he asked. "Why warn Earth? We're centuries behind you in technology. We haven't even colonized Mars properly yet." Ketal's large eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of excitement or fear. Chen couldn't tell which. "Because you have something we don't. Something the Void Hunters have never faced." The alien pulled up new images, showing Earth's military history. "You still use nuclear weapons." Chen frowned. "Those are primitive compared to your energy weapons." "No." Ketal moved closer, its voice urgent. "You don't understand. Our civilization abandoned radiation-based weapons thousands of years ago. The Void Hunters' shields, their gravity weapons, they have no defense against nuclear radiation. They've never needed one." The Admiral's eyes widened as he understood. Every major nation on Earth had nuclear weapons, hundreds of them, and humanity had spent decades figuring out how to make them smaller, more powerful, and more accurate. "There's more," Ketal said. "Your species, you think differently than us. We fight with rules, with honor. But you?" The alien displayed footage from Earth's military history. "You adapt. You fight dirty. You never give up. We've watched your broadcasts, your movies. You imagine victory even against impossible odds." Admiral Chen stood up, his mind racing with possibilities. Earth's nuclear arsenal, guerrilla warfare tactics, the desperate creativity that humans showed in combat, against an enemy that had never faced such things. "How long?" he asked. "How long until they reach Earth?" 3 months, Ketal replied. "Maybe 4. They're methodical, thorough. They don't know we've warned you." Chen nodded, already planning. "I need to contact every major military power on Earth. For the first time in human history, we'll need to work together completely." He turned to Ketal. "We'll need everything you know about their ships, their tactics, their weaknesses." The alien looked at Chen with something like hope in its strange eyes. "You're not running. Everyone else runs." "Running isn't an option," Chen replied, thinking of his grandchildren. "This is our home. And if these Void Hunters think they can just show up and crack our planet like an egg..." He smiled, but there was steel in it. "Well, they're about to learn why even our smallest creatures have spines." As Admiral Chen left to make the most important phone calls in human history, Ketal watched him go. For the first time since its world died, the alien felt something new, not just hope, but excitement. The Void Hunters had never faced a species like humanity before. And maybe, just maybe, that would make all the difference. The warning had been delivered. Now the real work would begin. The preparation. General Sarah Martinez walked through the underground bunker, her boots echoing against steel floors. Around her, the largest secret project in human history was taking shape. Scientists from 30 nations worked side by side, turning nuclear warheads into something the galaxy had never seen before. "Show me what you've done to my nukes," she said to Dr. Wong, who was practically bouncing with excitement. "Better if I show you outside." Dr. Wong led her to the test chamber viewing room. Through the thick glass, a small metal sphere about the size of a basketball sat on a pedestal. "That contains the power of one of our old ICBMs, but it's different now. We added the alien metals Cthulhu gave us. Watch this." He pressed a button. The sphere started to glow with a strange purple light. On the monitors, radiation readings went crazy. "The alien metal amplifies radiation by 4,000%, Dr. Wong explained. "But here's the best part." He touched another control. The purple glow collapsed inward, disappearing completely. "We can turn it on and off, like a switch." Martinez stared at the sphere. "You're telling me we can now control nuclear radiation like a light switch?" "Exactly. And there's more." Dr. Wong pulled up a hologram showing the sphere's design. "We've made them small enough to fit on fighter jets. Imagine, squadrons of Earth's jets, each carrying dozens of these. The Void Hunters won't know they're nuclear until it's too late." But that wasn't even their biggest surprise. In another part of the facility, Dr. Patel from India was showing Admiral Chen something even more incredible. "We call it the Ghost Drive," she said, pointing to a massive engine being assembled by robots. "It combines our primitive rocket technology with the alien refugees' quantum mechanics. Their ships are fast but predictable. This," she smiled, "this breaks all their rules." The engine looked wrong, like it was bending the space around it. "What does it do?" Chen asked. "It lets our ships appear to be in 3 places at once," Dr. Patel explained. "The Void Hunters' gravity weapons need to lock onto a target. But how do you lock onto something that exists in multiple locations simultaneously?" Across the facility, more innovations were taking shape. The Brazilian team had created what they called radiation mines, tiny devices that could attach to Void Hunter ships and eat through their hulls with concentrated nuclear decay. The Russian scientists had developed a way to turn their nuclear submarines into space-worthy vessels, complete with stealth systems that made them invisible to alien sensors. But the Chinese team had developed the most terrifying weapon of all. "We call it the Sun Eater," Professor Liu explained to the gathered military leaders. The hologram showed a missile the size of a small building. When it detonates, it creates a miniature star that burns for exactly 10 seconds. Nothing can survive it, not even the Void Hunter's strongest shields. Kittle, watching all this from the corner, felt its scales tingle with a mixture of fear and awe. In just 2 months, humans had taken their primitive technology and turned it into weapons that defied the laws of physics as their species knew them. "There's something else you should see," Admiral Chen told the alien, leading it to the deepest level of the facility. Here, thousands of engineers worked on what looked like massive drilling machines. "What are these for?" Call asked. "Plan B," Chen replied grimly. "If we can't beat them in space, we're going to hollow out the Earth, move our cities underground, turn our entire planet into a fortress. The Void Hunters want to crack Earth like an egg. Fine. But this egg bites back." Kittle stared at the humans around it, understanding finally hitting home. Other species faced extinction with acceptance or despair. Humans? They got creative. They got dangerous. They looked at the impossible and said, "Watch this." As they rode the elevator back up, Chen's phone buzzed. The first fleet of modified ships was ready. Humanity's new weapons were ready for testing. And somewhere out there, the Void Hunters were still coming, not knowing that they were about to face something the galaxy had never seen before, a species that turned its own primitive nature into its greatest strength. The preparation was complete. Now it was time to show the galaxy why you should never corner a species that had spent its entire history learning to survive against impossible odds. First blood. The radar operator aboard the U.S. Ghost Walker saw them first. Massive black shapes emerging from the darkness beyond Neptune, moving like oil through water. The Void Hunters had arrived early. Multiple contacts, she reported, her voice steady despite the fear. Counting 67 capital ships. Each one is bigger than Manhattan. Captain James Rodriguez smiled in his command chair. His stealth vessel, hidden in Neptune's rings, was humanity's first line of defense. And the Void Hunters had no idea what was waiting for them. "Send the signal," he ordered. "Operation Firefly begins now." Across the solar system, humanity's trap was sprung. Thousands of tiny objects, previously hidden among the asteroid belt, suddenly activated. Each one was no bigger than a coffee cup, but they carried humanity's newest weapon, quantum radiation bombs. The Void Hunters' massive ships moved with absolute confidence. Their sensors, designed to detect energy weapons and gravity distortions, saw nothing unusual about the debris floating around them. That was their first mistake. "They're in position," Rodriguez reported to Earth Command. "Activating Operation Firefly in 3, 2, 1. Across the void of space, thousands of tiny lights winked on. The quantum radiation bombs activated, creating a web of deadly radiation that no alien shield was designed to stop. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Void Hunters' mighty ships began to corrode from the inside out. Their biological components, hidden beneath meters of armor, started to break down. Radiation alarms that hadn't been used in millennia suddenly screamed to life. But humanity wasn't done. As the Void Hunters reeled from the radiation attack, the real assault began. "Ghost Squadron, you're up." Admiral Chen's voice crackled over the comm. From behind Mars, Earth's new stealth fighters emerged. Each one equipped with Dr. Patel's ghost drive, they appeared to be in 3 places at once, confusing the aliens' targeting systems. The Void Hunters responded with their gravity weapons, trying to crush the human ships. But you can't crush a ghost. The fighters, using their quantum displacement drives, phased through the gravity wells like they weren't even there. Then came humanity's secret weapon. From deep within Jupiter's atmosphere, where the intense pressure and radiation had hidden them from detection, rose Earth's converted nuclear submarines. Now space-worthy and carrying the dreaded Sun-Eater missiles, they surfaced like ancient sea monsters rising to hunt. "This is Captain Yuki from the Aegean Tsunami," a calm voice announced. "Sun-Eater missiles armed and ready, showing these aliens why you don't mess with a species that grew up on a radiation-soaked death world." The Sun-Eater missiles launched. When they detonated, they didn't just explode. They created miniature stars that burned for exactly 10 seconds each. The Void Hunter shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, were useless against actual stellar matter. 3 of their capital ships vanished in artificial starlight. But the Void Hunters weren't the galaxy's apex predators for nothing. They adapted quickly, splitting their fleet into smaller groups, trying to surround the human forces. That's when they fell into the third trap. "Activate the Lazarus Protocol," Rodriguez ordered. Across the battlefield, the debris from the destroyed Void Hunter ships began to move. Each piece had been infected with what humanity called smart rust, microscopic robots that ate alien metal and used it to replicate. The debris transformed into a swarm of metallic piranha, turning the Void Hunters' own destroyed ships into weapons against them. Kull, watching from Earth's command center, couldn't believe its eyes. "This is impossible," it whispered. "They're fighting a war on quantum, radiation, and microscopic levels simultaneously. No species has ever." "That's because no species ever had to survive on Earth," Chen replied. "We learned to fight smart because we were always the underdogs." against predators, against nature, against each other. Now we're teaching the galaxy's bullies why that was their biggest mistake. The battle raged for 6 hours. When it was over, 23 Void Hunter ships had been destroyed. The others retreated, jumping to faster-than-light speeds in a panicked withdrawal. But as humans celebrated their first victory, Admiral Chen stared at the tactical display with worried eyes. "They'll be back," he said. "And next time, they'll be ready for these tricks." "Good," Rodriguez responded from his ship, "because we've got plenty more tricks they haven't seen yet. And unlike them, we don't mind fighting dirty." As the solar system quieted again, humanity began preparing for round 2. Because if there's one thing humans knew for certain, it's that the galaxy's apex predators wouldn't take this defeat lying down. The real war was just beginning. The counterattack. 2 weeks after humanity's first victory, Earth's War Council gathered in the underground command center. The holographic display showed something that had never been attempted in the history of space warfare. "They're calling it Project Thunderchild," Admiral Chen explained, pointing to what looked like a modified aircraft carrier floating in space. "But this isn't just a ship, it's a mobile factory." Dr. Wong stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with pride. "We took inspiration from Earth's smallest but most successful creatures, ants and bees. This carrier doesn't just launch fighters, it breeds them." The hologram zoomed in, showing massive 3D printing bays inside the carrier. Raw materials from asteroid mining went in one end. Fully formed fighter ships came out the other, each one piloted by an AI that had been trained on centuries of human warfare tactics. "But here's the real genius," Dr. Patel added, bringing up another display. "Each fighter is essentially a very large bullet. When their power runs out, instead of returning home, they become kinetic weapons. Mass times acceleration equals a very bad day for Void Hunter shields." General Martinez grinned. "We're turning their own size against them. They build bigger ships. We just got more targets." But Thunderchild wasn't even their boldest plan. Professor Liu activated another hologram, showing Venus surrounded by a strange web of energy. "We call this the Venus Gambit," he said. "We've seeded Venus's atmosphere with billions of nanobots. When activated, it'll transform the entire planet into the biggest EMP weapon ever created. One burst will fry every advanced circuit within half the solar system." Kittle, watching from its usual corner, felt its scales ripple with shock. "You're weaponizing an entire planet." "No," Chen corrected. "We're weaponizing its atmosphere. The planet is just the delivery system." The alien refugee was about to respond when the alarms went off. The Void Hunters had returned, just as expected. But this time, they'd brought their entire fleet. 300 capital ships detected, the radar operator announced. "They're approaching in attack formation." Chen smiled. "Perfect. They're angry. Angry enemies make mistakes. Launch Operation Honeycomb." Across the solar system, humanity's new weapons activated. The Thunderchild carriers, hidden behind Mars, began mass-producing fighter drones. The Venus Gambit powered up, its web of nanobots turning the planet's toxic atmosphere into a weapon of unprecedented scale. But the Void Hunters had learned too. Their ships now carried radiation shielding. Their sensors were modified to detect quantum displacement. They thought they were ready for humanity's tricks. They weren't ready for the missiles. "Launch the Chimeras," Martins ordered. From Earth's dark side, thousands of missiles launched. But these weren't ordinary weapons. Each Chimera missile contained a quantum-entangled particle pair. When the Void Hunters destroyed one missile, its twin would appear inside their ships, bypassing shields completely. "Direct hit," the tactical officer shouted. 15 enemy capital ships breached. But the real surprise came from where no one was looking. Mercury. The smallest planet in the solar system had been quiet throughout the war. The Void Hunters barely paid attention to it. That was their final mistake. "Execute Project Phoenix," Chen commanded. Mercury's surface cracked open like an egg. The entire planet had been hollow for weeks, transformed into humanity's ultimate weapon. Inside, a massive array of solar collectors had been storing the sun's energy. When released, it created a beam of pure solar plasma that cut through space like a sword. The Void Hunter fleet split in two, trying to dodge the beam. That's exactly what Earth's forces had wanted. Caught between Mercury's solar lance, Venus's atmospheric EMP, and the swarms of suicide fighters, the mighty alien armada found itself in humanity's equivalent of a back-alley ambush. "Hey," Rodriguez called from his ship, still hiding in Neptune's rings. "Remember how we said humans fight dirty? We meant it." The battle that followed would be remembered for centuries. The Void Hunters, faced with weapons and tactics they'd never imagined, fought with desperate fury, but they were fighting an enemy that had turned their entire solar system into one giant trap. When the solar dust settled, over half the Void Hunter fleet was destroyed or disabled. The rest retreated not just from the solar system, but from the entire sector of space. As the human forces regrouped, Kittal approached Admiral Chen. "You didn't just drive them back," it said in awe. "You made them afraid." Chen nodded, but his expression was grim. "Fear makes some enemies retreat, but others." He looked at the tactical display, showing the retreating Void Hunter ships. "Others come back stronger." "Let them come," Martin said, studying the battle damage reports. "We've still got plenty of planets left to weaponize." The counterattack was successful, but everyone knew this wasn't the end. The Void Hunters would return, with new weapons and tactics of their own. But they'd learned an important lesson. Earth wasn't just another planet to harvest. It was a fortress, defended by a species that had turned its entire solar system into a weapon. And they were just getting started. The Alliance. The Grand Council chamber of Earth's new orbital defense station, Olympus, was packed with aliens from across the galaxy. Beings of all shapes and sizes had come to witness something unprecedented, a primitive species teaching advanced civilizations how to fight back. Admiral Chen stood before the holographic display, showing footage from their recent victories. Behind him, the Earth hung like a blue jewel, now surrounded by a network of defense platforms that made it look like a planet wearing a crown of thorns. The Void Hunters made one critical mistake, Chen explained to the assembled aliens. They thought technological advancement only moved in one direction. They forgot that sometimes going backward is the key to moving forward. Dr. Wong stepped up, activating a new hologram. "We call this the Stone Age Gambit." The display showed what looked like primitive rocks floating in space. These are chunks of uranium, thorium, and other radioactive elements that we've enhanced with quantum crystalline structures, totally invisible to advanced sensors because they appear completely natural. The alien delegates murmured in amazement as footage showed these space rocks devastating Void Hunter ships from the inside out. But humanity's newest innovation made even Kittle's scales pale. Professor Liu revealed Project Battle, a way to turn the cosmic background radiation of space itself into a weapon. "The universe has been transmitting radiation since the Big Bang," Liu explained. "We found a way to amplify it, focus it. We're turning space itself against them." A Centaurian delegate raised its tentacles. "But the Void Hunters will adapt to these weapons too." General Martinez smiled. "That's exactly what we're counting on. Show them Project Evolution." The next hologram displayed what looked like regular human fighters. But these ships were different. They learned. They evolved. Every time they were destroyed, the surviving ships absorbed the data and adapted their tactics. The more the Void Hunters killed them, the more dangerous the survivors became. "But our greatest weapon isn't technology at all," Chen continued. "It's this." He gestured to the assembled aliens. "Unity." The Void Hunters ruled through fear because everyone fought alone. Not anymore. The chamber's main screen activated, showing a massive construction project taking place in the asteroid belt. Alien and human workers moved together, building something that defied description. "The Chimera Array," Dr. Patil announced proudly. a defensive network that combines technology from 20 different species, Centaurian energy webs, Proximan phase shields, and human nuclear innovation. Alone, each could be defeated. Together, she pressed a button. The simulation showed the array in action. When Void Hunter ships approached, the network didn't just attack, it adapted. Human nuclear weapons combined with alien energy fields, creating effects that broke the laws of physics. Proximan shields merged with Earth's radiation technology, generating defenses that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But the real surprise came from the smallest member of the Alliance, the Micronids, a species of tiny crystalline beings. We've combined their living crystal technology with our radiation weapons, Wong explained. The result is something we call star seeds. The hologram showed tiny crystals, each no bigger than a grain of sand. When activated, they grow into miniature suns, but with a twist. They feed on the same dark energy the Void Hunters use for their gravity weapons. Kittel, now Earth's official ambassador to the Alliance, stepped forward. 3 cycles ago, my people ran from the Void Hunters. Today, we're helping build weapons that make them run. Because humanity taught us something important. There's no such thing as primitive technology. There's only primitive thinking. Suddenly, alarms blared through the station. Long-range sensors had detected something massive approaching the galaxy's edge. It's them, Chen announced grimly. The Void Hunters' main fleet. 10 times larger than anything we've faced before. But instead of fear, the alien delegates showed excitement. For the first time in galactic history, they weren't alone against the darkness. Let them come, Martine said, activating Earth's new defensive grid. We've got a few million years of primitive thinking ready to show them what real evolution looks like. As the combined fleet of former victims and refugees prepared for the largest space battle in galactic history, Kittel realized something profound. Humanity hadn't just changed the rules of warfare. They'd changed the very nature of galactic civilization. The age of running was over. The age of standing together had begun. The final stand. The largest fleet ever assembled in galactic history watched as the Void Hunters' main armada emerged from hyperspace. 1,000 capital ships, each the size of a small moon, cast shadows across the solar system. Admiral Chen stood on Olympus Station's bridge, watching tactical displays light up like Christmas trees. But he was smiling. They still don't understand what Earth really is, he said to Kittel. They think it's just another planet to crack open. What do you mean? The alien ambassador asked. Earth isn't just our home, Chen replied. It's our teacher. Everything that makes us dangerous, we learned from her. He activated a special command channel. Begin Operation Genesis. Across Earth, hidden facilities activated. The planet's magnetic field, which had protected life for billions of years, suddenly changed. Humanity had learned to control it, transform it, weaponize it. Magnetic field reconfigured, Dr. Wong reported. Earth is now essentially a giant electromagnet, and every Void Hunter ship is full of metal. But that was just the start. Professor Liu revealed humanity's craziest project yet, Project Pandora. They had spent months hollowing out Earth's moon, filling it with a specially engineered strain of their smart rust nanobots. Now, Luna wasn't just a satellite. It was the galaxy's largest Trojan horse. Launch the lunar swarm, Martines ordered. The moon's surface cracked open. Trillions of nanobots poured out, forming a silver river in space. Each bot carried a tiny quantum reaction chamber, combining human nuclear science with alien quantum mechanics. The Void Hunters responded with their gravity weapons, trying to crush the swarm. Instead, they triggered the quantum chambers. Each crushed nanobot released a microscopic burst of nuclear energy, turning the enemy's own attack against them. Then came humanity's most audacious weapon. Dr. Patil activated Project Ouroboros, a network of wormholes around the solar system. But these weren't for transportation. Fire the solar snakes, she commanded. Massive tendrils of solar plasma, captured directly from the sun's surface, poured through the wormholes. They wrapped around void hunter ships like fiery serpents, guided by Earth's modified magnetic field. Where they touched, even the strongest alien armor melted. But the void hunters hadn't come unprepared. Their ships combined into massive geometric patterns, forming energy webs that could deflect even solar plasma. That's when humanity revealed their final trick, the one even their alien allies didn't know about. Execute Project Reminiscence, Chen ordered quietly. Deep beneath Earth's oceans, machines that had been running since the start of the war activated. They had been collecting something unique to Earth: memories. The electrical patterns of every living thing, the quantum echoes of billions of years of evolution, all compressed into a single signal. When they broadcast it into space, it did something unprecedented. The signal resonated with the basic particles that made up the Void Hunters' biomechanical ships. Every living component in their fleet received billions of years of Earth's evolutionary history in an instant. Their ships didn't just malfunction. They began to evolve. Centuries of carefully engineered biological components started transforming, following Earth's evolutionary patterns. Weapons turned into defensive organs. Control systems developed independent thoughts. "My God," Catal whispered, "you didn't just weaponize your planet. You weaponized your entire evolutionary history." The Void Hunter fleet fell into chaos. Ships that had been perfectly synchronized for millennia suddenly developed individual survival instincts. Some fled. Others turned on each other, displaying primitive territorial responses. That's when the Allied fleet struck. Human nuclear weapons, Centaurian energy beams, Proximan phase cannons, and dozens of other weapons fired simultaneously. The once mighty Void Hunter Armada, already fighting its own evolutionary civil war, didn't stand a chance. The battle lasted 12 hours. When it was over, the greatest threat the galaxy had ever known was reduced to scattered remnants, fleeing from the very primitive world they had come to conquer. As the allied species celebrated, Admiral Chen watched Earth rotating below. "You know what's really funny?" he said to no one in particular. "They called us primitive because we still used nuclear weapons, because we fought dirty, because we never forgot our survival instincts." He turned to the assembled alien leaders. "But that's not primitive. That's wisdom. Sometimes the oldest solutions are the best ones. And Earth." He smiled. "Earth is very, very old." The final battle was over. But as humanity looked to the stars, they knew this was just the beginning. They had changed the galaxy forever, teaching advanced civilizations that true strength doesn't come from forgetting your roots. It comes from remembering them. The new era. 10 years after the final battle, Earth had changed. The planet now floated in space like a blue-green jewel wrapped in a lattice of silver and light, a perfect blend of nature and technology. But the biggest changes weren't visible from space. Admiral Chen, now considerably grayer, stood in the new Galactic Council chamber built into the side of Mount Everest. The highest point on Earth had become the meeting place for over 100 alien species. "Show them," he nodded to Dr. Wong, who activated the chamber's holographic system. Above the assembled aliens appeared humanity's latest creation, the Genesis Sphere. It looked simple, just a glass-like orb the size of a basketball. But inside it swirled the combined knowledge of Earth's evolution and the Void Hunters' biological technology. "When we forced their ships to evolve during the final battle," Wong explained, "we didn't just defeat them. We inherited their legacy. Their biotechnology merged with Earth's evolutionary patterns, created something entirely new." Professor Liu stepped forward. "The Genesis Sphere doesn't just store information. It creates life. Life adapted to survive anywhere. We can now see barren planets with organisms engineered by billions of years of Earth's wisdom, combined with advanced alien science." But that wasn't humanity's only gift to the galaxy. Dr. Patel revealed Project Harmony, a revolutionary defense system that turned the very thing that made Earth primitive into its greatest strength. Every planet has a unique signature, she explained. Its magnetic field, radiation patterns, evolutionary history. They're like fingerprints. Project Harmony reads these patterns and adapts our defense technology to work in harmony with each world's natural forces. The alien delegates watched in awe as the demonstration showed dead worlds coming alive, their natural forces turned into shields more powerful than any artificial defense. Now the head of the Galactic Scientific Council activated another display. But humanity's greatest contribution isn't technological. It's philosophical. The screen showed images from across the galaxy. Advanced civilizations were rediscovering their roots, combining ancient methods with new technology. The Centaurians had revived their ancient crystal crafting, merging it with quantum mechanics. The Proximans were relearning the biological abilities they had abandoned for machines. We call it retrograde evolution, Martinez explained. Sometimes you have to go backward to move forward. But Earth had one final surprise. Chen gestured to a window looking out at Earth's night side. As darkness fell, the oceans began to glow with a soft blue light. "Remember the smart rust that ate Void Hunter ships?" he asked. It evolved. Combined with Earth's marine life, it created something new. Our oceans are now living computer networks, processing data through bioluminescent algorithms. The entire planet has become a living supercomputer. The assembled aliens murmured in amazement, but Chen wasn't finished. And that's not all. Show them Project Legacy. The hologram changed, showing something that made even the most advanced species gasp. Humans had found a way to encode information into the basic structure of spacetime itself. Every victory, every discovery, every lesson was being written into the quantum fabric of the universe. So even if we fall, Chen explained, even if some new threat emerges in 1,000,000 years, our story will be there. Written in the stars themselves, a warning to any future invaders. This is what happens when you underestimate primitive worlds. Ketal moved to stand beside its human friends. 10 years ago, we came to warn Earth about the greatest threat in the galaxy. Instead, Earth taught us the greatest lesson. True civilization isn't about abandoning your past. It's about building on it. As the council session ended, Chen walked to his favorite viewing window. Earth glowed below, its oceans pulsing with living light, its defense systems dancing like aurora borealis. Ships from 100 worlds moved through the solar system, no longer afraid of the dark spaces between stars. "You know what the funny thing is," he said to Ketal. "The Void Hunters called us primitive because we still fought like animals when threatened. They never realized." "Realized what?" Ketal asked. Chen smiled. "That's exactly why we won. Because Earth taught us the most important lesson of all. Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. And sometimes," he looked out at the galaxy, now forever changed by humanity's primitive wisdom, "sometimes the best way to advance isn't to forget your roots, but to help them grow." The new era had begun, and it started with a simple truth. In a galaxy of wonders, Earth's greatest strength had never been its technology. It had been its memory.